Wake up in the morning, I just gotta get it. Wake up in the morning, I just gotta get it.
All right, welcome everyone to the Schoology Learning Podcast. Thanks for joining us. This is the podcast where we talk about some things we're hearing out in the world about education, as well as some tips and tricks about our favorite platform, which is, of course, Schoology. My name is Kellie, and I'm joined by my colleague, Ericka Waterman.
Hey, Kelly. I'm so excited for us to take this time. I just remember how fun it was when I was teaching to take the lunchtime or, any little break that we had and just kind of talk with colleagues. So hopefully everyone can join us and just get a little chit chat about education and Schoology while they're at it.
Yeah, so let's get started.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
I know. I'm so excited. Can't believe it's 2026.
Yeah, it snuck up on me for sure.
Yeah. Oh, just flying by.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give you a little gift to get 2026 started off right.
Oh, this is awkward. I didn't get you anything.
Oh, that's just typical, Kelly. No, what I have is news that I think you're going to be very excited about this with Schoology. So I've been you've been telling me forever that people would love to see us improve the user interface, right? With how people, update it, make it a little, just a little slicker to use. And so we are finally releasing our first drop in the bucket. So it's a small start, but I'm pretty excited about it. In the January release, we're going to have the student assignment dashboard available if districts want to turn it on.
Ooh.
And it's basically going to allow students to immediately when they log into Schoology, they can see what's upcoming, what they've missed, what's recently completed. It does things like highlight that there's a teacher comment, because right now we don't have a really great way to let students know that those teacher comments are there. We're going to have the ability, it's not sorted by class, but you can sort it by class, which I think is going to be awesome. So, right from that main page, students can go into their assignment or see just, what they have going on this week, next week, the following month. I'm just really excited about the visibility and kind of navigation improvements that we've made with this.
That is great. And I know that's been kind of a frequent piece of feedback we've gotten. And I'm sure you and I have experienced this ourselves, but like the easier it is for a student to see what to do. And like, that's why we added the upcoming list. Like for a while, we didn't even have that. So like, that was even a huge improvement. So this is like taking that even a step further, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it. Cause like you said, that upcoming, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
It was,
there's like
it was like,
it's
5,
good.
I think. Yeah. It's good. This takes it to a completely another level.
Well, as I recall, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that when you look at the upcoming and like recently graded, and then is it overdue?
Overdue?
Yeah, it's because my brain is shut off still from break. But it's not for the specific class. It's like everything, right? So like, so when a kid looks now in the dashboard, are they able to actually like just look at something for a specific course, or is it still kind of everything?
No, so it opens with everything, but up in the right corner, the student can click, I would just want to see language arts. I just want to see my math class. I just want to see social studies, whatever they got going on. I just think that's going to be such a game changer for them to be able to navigate very quickly and see what's been completed versus going into the course and drilling down. So
that's awesome. That's a great gift. I really feel a lot of pressure to get you something.
I'll be waiting.
Yeah. Well, that'll be one of my resolutions then. Find a good gift for Ericka to repay her for all the assignment work. But speaking of resolutions,
Kelly, your knowledge is your gift. Use it all the time.
So did you make resolutions, by the way? That was hard to say.
Yeah. I always dabbled with should I, shouldn't I? But yeah, ish. How about you?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, I have some personal ones, but like for the professional side of it, I
Mm.
just want to be better about, I want to be more intentional, I guess, about what I read and what I try to
Mhm.
like absorb because I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed and then I end up just like, ugh, I don't want to even check anything anymore. And then the other thing is, I kind of want to expand what I do on things like social. I'm not great about, I used to use Twitter all the time. And then when I shifted away, I just feel like I need to be better about social. Like,
Nice,
yeah. Yeah.
nice. I
So
like
those
those.
two things. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. So my big professional resolution, and I dabbled in this a little bit last year, but I'm like really trying to hone in on it this year, is the work with our vendors that partner with Schoology.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
all of our apps and our app center, and just I'm noticing how much more districts are using that, and really want to get a good handle on it.
Yeah.
And so actually to start, to get my resolution kicked off in the probably best way possible, we actually are going to be able to chat with a partner of ours and talk about those integrations that we're doing and the improvements we're working to make. I've had the opportunity over the last year to work really closely with the Google team. And I got to say, they're phenomenal to work with. And we've been able to make some real progress with how Google integrates with Schoology, specifically when it comes to assignments, but also, Google's done a lot of innovation over the last year and what they've been able to uh, integrate with into Schoology with their apps. And we are fortunate today to be joined by somebody from Google. So Vivek, thank you so much for taking time out. Kelly and I are excited to have you join us.
Yeah, super excited to join you all. Thanks for having me on this podcast.
Yeah. So Vivek, what's your role at Google? I'm going to do a little
Yeah,
introduction here.
give you a little intro. So yeah, my name's Vivek. I'm a product manager on the Google for Education team. So what that actually just means is, I listen to our customers. I try and figure out what our users need, what are their pain points, and try and create a product that addresses those pain points. And I have the very fortunate position and privilege of working on some of our AI products across the education team. So things like Gemini and Notebook, and really thinking deeply about how we can bring those products into the hands of our users in a way that helps them solve those pain points that I was referring to. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I've been in this role for about 4 years now. And prior to that, I was at Google for another 3 years before that, working in ads. I'm very, very excited with all the recent changes that we have. And I'm very much looking forward to 2026 and all the things that we have coming up.
Well,
That's
this is
awesome.
super exciting for me too, because as a former Schoology user and then working with the Schoology team, we've had a partnership and a really good, I think, approach to helping kids get the stuff they need to do cool learning with Google for years. And so, seeing the way it's grown and changed and new things that we're adding is super exciting. So this is personally very geeked out about today. So, um, one thing that Ericka was talking about is some of the things that we do with our assignments and that we, can bring in Google assignments and we recently made some updates there, Ericka. So I know that that's one reason that like we were thinking about the assignment workflow, not that this
Yeah.
is assignments, but
Yeah, thankfully Google was able to work with us to get an option for Schoology grading. So now when you add an assignment, you can do it Google grading if you want to keep doing it that way, or you can do Schoology grading, which just allows them to use the rubrics that are already created within Schoology. So it's kind of a nice blend, right? Because before we always saw like a district either did one or the other. This kind of allows for a nice combo. But yeah, that was just one of many things that actually came out this last year with Google updates. So Vivek, do you want to talk a little bit about? I know like Gemini went through some, we got that app in Schoology, but it also went through some updates. Just as well as I think, like clean up the Google assignments and the Google Drive, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, an amazing run. I think we've had a long-term partnership with Schoology. I think in the last probably 2 years, I think I've seen that accelerate and get really deep. I think we've gone some amazing momentum, right? So we've launched assignments LTI 1.3 with Schoology. That was a much needed upgrade we had been looking forward to for a while. And that really enables us to have the most robust security protocols around the LTI specs. And so that was very exciting. That includes this grader, right? The Schoology grader is something that we've been talking about for a long time. And so now we can support both, which is also kind of going back to, the pain points of our users. We had heard we need the support for Schoology grader. We're so used to it. We don't want to switch. And so I'm very excited and grateful that, we can offer that option to our users now. And so that, I think, was probably the first half of the last little sprint, and
Yeah.
exciting to then kind of pivot and carry that momentum over into Gemini LTI, which, wow, I can't believe we've already done 2 iterations of in like the last little bit. And so that's been really exciting as well. And the concept there is, we have all of these amazing AI products being built across Google, including things like Gemini and Notebook. How do we bring them into the hands of Schoology users right where they are, right? So you're creating your assignments, you're grading them. All of the day-to-day operations are already within Schoology. You don't want to leave. You're already there. How do we bring the power of these tools directly within that context? And so that's where Gemini LTI, kind of comes in to help for that. The latest iteration that we have launched brings the capabilities of both GEMS, which is, a subset of the Gemini functionality, as well as Notebook LM directly into Schoology. And so I'm excited to see how our teachers and students are starting to use that across the board.
Yeah, I know it's been well received by those that I've talked to that have been using it. So they were very excited to see that integration be added, which is phenomenal. But I'm guessing there's new stuff coming out because let me tell you, the one thing that I've learned working with Google, like I said, or this last year, and I agree, Vivek, I think we've kind of ramped up how much we're working together, which is exciting to see. But it's that there's always a next. There's always and here's what we want to do now.
Yeah, no, I think especially given this platform change and with AI becoming such a hot topic over the last few years, the pace of innovation, I think, has probably 10x, right? I think we were already moving so quickly, and now it feels like we're running at breakneck speed all the time. It's almost it's a challenge, right? And I empathize a lot with our users who are, inundated with so many options, so many tools, and so many new things coming out all the time. It's really hard to keep track of all the things and understanding what is the most useful for me and how do I actually leverage it to make my life easier. How do I do it? How do I teach better? How do I help my students learn how to use these tools now? And so a lot of the focus, even with Gemini LTI, this is why I was very bullish on ensuring we have resourcing on and training directly in the tool. And so, everyone is at a different place in the AI adoption journey. And so for folks that are still getting started, we want to make sure we have the right resources and the trainings there so that you can learn, right? You can figure it out and kind of also then pass on those trainings to your students who are trying it and need that guidance to ensure that they are learning how to use it appropriately. So that's all. It's kind of a bit of a tangent, but I wanted to share that because I'm very excited about that piece.
Yeah, that's a great tangent because Kelly, you and I have talked about that too. And I'm trying to remember if it was on an episode or just us talking, but about like hey, if you're at the crawl stage, here's what you can do with AI. Hey, if you're, at the walk stage, here's what you can do. And if you're at the run stage, because to your point, it changes so quickly. Getting people even to have a foot in the door and feel comfortable with it is, that takes a big leap for some people. So having that training right in there and focusing on that, I think that's a kudos to you for doing that, because I think that definitely helps lessen the anxiety that comes along with AI for some people.
Yeah, and I think kind of going back to your original question, I guess coming back to that around what's new. If you ask me in a few hours, the answer will probably change. But I think, as of one of the latest changes is Gemini 3.0, right? Like, I think we're continuing to see, just like really big improvements in the foundational models. Gemini 3.0 just launched recently, and that is shipped across all of her products at the same time. And so it's very exciting to be able to say the time between research and getting it into the hands of users is also shortening. And so what that has meant is in the last few weeks, users of Gemini LTI within Schoology, whether using Gems or Notebook, are already seeing the benefits of Gemini 3.0. It's already integrated. It makes there's no visible change, but all of a sudden their output is more refined, it's better, it has more grounding on this information. And so it's really exciting to see how quickly we're going from research to market. But then beyond that, I think, we are seeing a lot of focus on learning. And I think that is something that is personally very, very exciting. With something like Gen AI, which has so much potential, I think the world really understands how much impact it's going to have on education, right? Both formal and informal learning. And so there's such a focus at Google in helping ensure the products are actually built with learning in mind. And so for Gemini, for example, we've seen things like guided learning, this idea of having a mode where you can come to Gemini and ask questions and learn, and Gemini won't actually give you answers. Like, it's based in Socratic methods. It's going to ask you questions to help you reflect your understanding. Well, we're starting to build, we've launched flashcards and quizzes. And so this idea of being able to demonstrate your learning of content directly within these tools. And so all of these kind of are moving towards this future where a student can come to AI and have questions around what they're learning, get real-time support, and ideally in a way that is customized to them. And so I think it's a really exciting future, and that's what we're building towards.
I think just as an education community, we have, seen this promise of getting closer to personalized learning for so long. It almost felt like a term that was being overused, where it's like a little fatigue around, like, are we ever going to get there? But, to your point, all of a sudden, I was telling somebody for the first time in, 25 years, I'm like, oh, I might actually see this happen that I thought was too far off the horizon. We kept thinking like, oh, this will do it. It's like, well, no, we're not quite. Yeah, so it is exciting, especially with the ability to scale. I think that was always the challenge, is the desire was there, but just the scale was just really hard to overcome. So yeah, it's exciting times to be in education. And also, as you said, breakneck speed, being in education. So yeah. Well, speaking of things that are exciting, anything else that, you think you'd want to share? Like what really has been something you've noticed that users have been responding to well, like the kind of feedback you're getting about Gemini 3 or anything?
Yeah, I think, a lot of the, it's so many layers to this problem, right? So, and to the solution here. So as I mentioned, Gemini 3 is like the foundational model, and that has a lot of impact across the board on all the different product surfaces. And then, we talked about the actual individual products and like the different ways in which they're trying to enhance learning, whether it's through features like flashcards, quizzes, guided learning. And we're going to continue to see a lot of that. I think one of the most recent improvements in that raises interactive images that are now available through Gemini. And the concept there being, sometimes text isn't enough, and you need to have a visual to understand a concept. And actually, have to mention Nano Banana and now Banana Pro becoming Pro, right? And so it's been really, really interesting to see the imagination of users. I don't know if you've seen this, but one of the most exciting things I saw with Nano Banana was someone made a mini like mini globe of their city, and it was fed with real-time data of the weather. And so it would be like, okay, this is Montreal, and it has all the key architectural landscape of Montreal. So you look at it and you're like, wow, that's Montreal. And it has, the snow and the temperature, et cetera, and it's like such a unique use case that I'm sure no one was thinking of that, right, as we were developing, but it's so amazing to see that come out And there's been so many different infographics that people are building with these tools. And I think as someone who has always struggled with converting like the images in my
I
mind
was
into
just going to
images
say
on
that. Yeah.
paper, right? This is
Yep.
finally like an outlet to be like, this is how I'm thinking about it. This is how I'm visualizing it. And in my head, it's so clear. And previously, the only way to articulate that is to spend a lot of time ensuring like you're going through the details, text, right? It's a lot of text. Or you have to be skilled enough with visual design that you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I think we're reducing that barrier, right? Like you're enabling communication, more effective communication, and you're enabling people that previously couldn't articulate what they were visualizing or what they were thinking about in a completely different way. And that I think opens up so many boundaries, so many questions. And I'm very excited to see how the world evolves once we kind of break down some of those challenges.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point because we hear a lot about, offloading cognitive demand sometimes with Gen AI. And this is an area where people, it's not worth their time to do the kind of cognitive load to build an infographic, but it can be incredibly powerful as a learning tool. So to me, it's like the perfect partnering with an AI, companion who can help build that. And I will say that's one thing that I've really found valuable about Notebook, particularly is just being able to give it exactly what I want it to use and then have it come up with an infographic. And it's been really fun to play with. But I think that's one of those things where like, boy, this is really something that I couldn't have done myself, but I could really use it. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Along those lines, Vivek, because obviously this, what we just talked about could apply to anything, but we're heavily focused on education in all of our roles. And so, Kelly and I talk a lot about our past history in education. We both come from a teaching background, and so we're very passionate about ed tech just because we've lived it, right? We've been in the classroom and experienced what it's like. What is it about ed tech that makes you like it? I know you said you switched over from a different department at Google and, you've been here the last 4 years. Is there something about ed tech in particular you really like?
Yeah, I actually joined this team, but recently, right? It's been the last 4 years within the formal ed tech space. But I years ago, I've always been very opinionated on our formal education system and its limitations, right? And also, so when I was in the International Baccalaureate program, like ages ago now, and I remember reflecting on the different education systems around the world and asking the question of why is ours this way? Like, why are we so focused on standardization? Is that really the best way to teach education? And so, along those lines of thoughts, I remember I even had given a TEDx conversation around this to focus on let's break the boundaries of what we think formal education is. And I think now we're coming to a point with Gen AI where we can really challenge that, and it's super exciting to see. And so, like, let me give you a concrete example of what I mean there. You may have a specific, and going back to the notebook, you may have specific curriculum, specific learning standards and goals that you're trying to meet. In a classroom environment, where a teacher is trying to meet the needs of their students, uh, there might be some students that are not getting what they need out of that classroom experience. Maybe they learn better through more visuals. They need, or they just need audio, right? They're not able to do it in real time. They need to be able to pause and rewind and kind of take their extra time with it. All of those capabilities, we're starting to see now you can create those types of content very quickly with things like Notebook, right? You're providing your curriculum and your student can go, actually, I don't understand this concept. Can you make up like a podcast around it, right? Like that, maybe that's a way you're learning. Or can you make me an infographic so I can help better understand this concept? And all of a sudden, you're able to get that help. And to your point, I know we've been talking about personalized support at scale for a long time, but with some of these advancements, I really do think we're getting to at least a portion of it, right? And I think we still have a long way to go, but we're starting that journey. I think we're starting to take in steps, and that is super exciting for me to see. Last thing I'll say is the other side of the coin, right? With excitement also comes a lot of responsibility. I think it's The world is changing very rapidly. I think for students, that are in, let's say, in high school today, by the time they graduate, the world and the economy and the requirements for jobs are going to be drastically different in the next 8 to 10 years. And so I think it's really critical for our education system to keep pace and to ensure that we're training our students and educating them with the right tools so that by the time they graduate, they're equipped, right, with the right things. And I think that's really critical, and it's a responsibility that I think we all share.
What a great answer, right,
know.
Kelly? I was
Yes. Also, I taught
Yes.
in the IB program, Vivek, so I taught HL English back in the day. So you said IB, I was like, remember those days?
Oh, yep.
Yeah. But I think that's why right now I think it's exciting because we're seeing, I think, a collective understanding of what you just said. And I think we're all just trying to solve for like, how do we really help kids be successful and into a world that we probably didn't imagine even 6 months ago. So yeah, very much appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time today, Vivek. This has been awesome being able to chat with you. And again, I've just been so grateful working with your team and how we can make Google and Schoology work even more closely together. I look forward to the things we can continue to do. And hopefully we can have you back and talk about all the new stuff that happens in Schoology in the future.
Yeah, super exciting to be here. Thank you for having me, and very much looking forward to all that we're doing in 2026.
Well, thanks for joining this episode of the Schoology Learning Podcast. Hope to see you next time where we'll talk about some more topics of interest and, of course, talking about our favorite platform, Schoology.
And in the meantime, if you click on the user toolbox at the bottom of the Schoology page, there are lots of resources out there, including other episodes of this podcast to listen to. Until next time.
And hope to see you next time. Thanks all.